Hello, hello, welcome to Mindset to Results. Today, our guest is Pete Maroni. He will share with us amazing journey, his experience from being very fit boy, the fittest, healthiest boy in school at 13, and then going through hard time when he was 30 years sick and didn't know how to get out of that situation, and then happy, and it's like happy moment that Pete could find out how he can be healthy. And today he is sharing these secrets and his discoveries, which he implemented on his life and on other people's lives with the world. So, welcome, Pete.
Oh, thank you, Elena. It's lovely to meet with you. Thank you for your time, and thank you to all of your viewers who may be watching this show because time's very precious. So I really appreciate both. Thank you.
And I appreciate your time and your willingness and passion to share what you discovered and what you developed after that with the world to help so many people, yeah, who might be in the situation when they are not happy with their health. And we know that health is so important, especially our audience are business owners, entrepreneurs. It is a lot of responsibility, not only for yourself, your family, but we know that there are so many other families involved, so many people have job, and of course it is a lot of responsibilities, and we have to put our health first because we all know that if we get sick, nothing matters. Yes, people when they get sick, they only think about is how to not feel pain, yes, or how to get healthy. And that is why it is so important to really not to take for granted our health. Yes, because it is when we are healthy, we think that we will be healthy all time, and we have like 5,000 years agreement here. Yes, and sometimes we really put ourselves back, and we have so many tasks, and we can focus on different tasks and activities. And as in your situation, it can happen so suddenly that you feel well, and the next day you cannot wake up. Yes, or you
Yes.
wake up in pain. So tell us about yourself. What was your journey? Yeah, share with us a little bit.
Thank you. Yeah, very well put. If we haven't got our health, we haven't got anything. I encapsulate that into, three simple words. Energy. We work with energy, and our slogan is energizing life at PEMFit and optimal hydration. And if you have energy, you have more life, you have more time. So my journey, as you mentioned, I was super healthy, super fit, super strong right throughout school. It was really an unfair advantage. I sent you a photograph of me at 13. I was a man. I had two sprinter genes. I dug a bit into biochemistry and looked at what was going on with me in the end. And I had an unfair advantage when it came to sports. I was fast, I was strong, so I suppose did take my that for granted, as you've said. When you have health, which is, energy and health are an amazing resource and currency, but when you naturally have them, you can take them for granted. And then in my mid to late teens, I started developing weird aches and pains and tummy ache and headaches and things. And mum sent me to the local, very well intended healthcare system, GP, doctors, surgery, and they didn't really know what was wrong with me. And I went for a bunch of tests, and everything's coming back. We don't really know what's wrong with you. I was at the end of it told that I had something called ME or CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome, which now is very, very common. I think in reality is it's been around for many, many years. We have a virus, and then some people do not fully recover from that virus. So we work with lots of people now with post-viral syndrome. I should say we're a wellness business as well, so we don't diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease. We just give the body more energy to support its own uh, innate systems and mechanisms in order to deal with problems. So I was sick. I was healthy, and then I got very sick. And as you said, this issue went on over 30 years. Unfortunately, in the process, I had lots of surgeries. I had lots of, let's call them treatments, on both sides of the spectrum, all well intended. I must make that very clear, but they were not the tools my body needed in order to repair itself. Um, in a former lifetime, I was around 30 years. I started my career in engineering, and then I went into management consultancy, specifically in automotive management consultancy, and I ended up going all around the world. Um, and was very fortunate, had a wonderful career. And my job was to try and identify the root cause of the problem, what is the solution, and hopefully things work better from then. And I suppose in the end, after 30 plus years of being sick, and again, you have pictures of me at 45. I'm now 56, 57 in March. And then you have a picture of me 10 years later, which you may or may not be able to share with the audience. But the common preconception is if we're getting older, we're going to look older, perform older, feel older. Well, that's not necessarily the case, as I found out. And at 47, I was told, this is very bad luck. You have something which is very serious. It was a very serious esophageal issue. And, it's potentially a fatal disease. But I was told that that was bad luck. So I was kind of by myself. I was a management consultant, but I was losing my voice. I was obviously struggling with energy, and travel and energy is a bad combination. It takes its toll. So I was left by myself to find out some solutions. So I dug into PubMed. I became fascinated with biochemistry. All this information is available to lay people, and I suppose my curious nature and mind thought, "Hey, maybe my cells are just not producing a lot of energy," and we can dig into any part of the conversation you may wish to, or just leave it at that. I was struggling with energy, and then I found some solutions which supported me, and then everybody around me. And bearing in mind, this was in my old career. Wherever I went in the world, it could be Japan, China, South Africa, the Americas, Europe, people were fascinated. We've been with you for a week. Where do you get your energy from? How old are you? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? So I would say, well, look, I'm here to talk to you about this. And they say, forget about that. This is good. But what we really want to know is what are you on? There was something that there was a curiousness that I think it triggered in people to say, what are you doing? And they were drawn to that. So this is hence how I formed the company 5 years ago. Oh, Elena, your microphone is muted.
Yes, thank you for
Ah.
sharing. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So it is interesting how you found the root of the cause. Yes, you said that you went for different doctors and they couldn't find what is wrong. So what they were operating you on, like if they didn't know what is the root of the cause, so why they offered you to do those operations?
That's a really good question. And again, I must stress that this was all done with good intention. But at 21, I had a laparotomy. So they thought at the time I had something called diverticulitis, which are little sacs on the bowel. And then, the surgeon drew a little diagram and said, we just go in, we just take these things off, and things will be fine. And then, he told me when I was recovering from that on morphine, there was a red herring, there was nothing to be seen. And then, unfortunately, that surgery was a major surgery. My abdomen was cut open. It was a large incision. And then subsequently from then, there were weak points, and these are called incisional hernias. So I've had to have increasing surgeries after that. I've actually now had four surgeries in total to recover the damage. So I think it was all well intended. It's like, we think it might be this, we think it might be that. I had a lot of biopsies to examine tissue. And I think, we're all always learning. My last surgery was in September in London, in London Bridge Hospital. And I worked with a professor who is the lead surgeon. I worked with a world-class microsurgeon, so in other words, a plastic surgeon, and a top anaesthetist. It was a very specialist team because I had a surgery about 15 months ago, which was meant to be the final incisional hernia repair, and that did not work. And then my whole abdominal wall gave way. So it was one problem after another. Um, anyway, the team in London, which I had to find because it was such a large surgery, most teams didn't want to touch it because they said, look, we don't think we can repair it. The team I found in London, unfortunately, it was a Harley Street team, so it was hard to find and it was expensive to fund. I had to self-fund it. But they were very interested in what was going on in my tissue, in my body, in my recovery, my preoperative labs, my inflammatory markers, and my ability for my body to repair itself very quickly. So and these are surgeons with hundreds of peer-reviewed studies and pioneering techniques, not least the one that they were working with me on, which was reconstructive reanimative surgery of the abdominal wall. So they were very fascinated to understand how did I prepare for the surgery, because my body was recovering much, much quicker. I was meant to be in hospital for 14 nights and I was discharged in 7. And it was a very, very major surgery. So how did so just to make it clear that, yeah, everything was well intended, but I suppose it's like anything when you're looking for things that cannot be measured on with certain markers. Like me as a management consultant, if I'm looking in the wrong direction, when I was told that I was sick and the things that I had, um, I suppose I started from a clean sheet because I knew what did not work for me. And this was good. I also had to trust myself because, the obvious thing is to subcontract our energy, knowledge, and not for 1 minute would I say nobody should listen to their medical advice. In fact, our rule number one is talk to your doctor about this. If people come to us and we're not sure, we say, look, seek medical advice, and we support that. But you're asking what I went through. I got to a point where nothing was working for me, and I suppose I took a very logical approach because I looked at my family background, my ancestry, my mother, who was very sick at the time. Sadly, she's passed away, but too young. I looked at her mother, and I looked at other people within my family, and I dug quite deep into a subject called epigenetics. So this is our genes and the world around our genes. I read in the newspaper last week that the NHS, this is great news, will be conducting, just basic genetic testing on all newborn children. And I think this is groundbreaking. This will pinpoint many things before they go wrong. It will also allow them to better dose pharmaceuticals because we will process different molecules at different speeds, whether it's a simple caffeine molecule or acetaminophen, so paracetamol. We all require a different dose. The devil is in the dose, whether it's water, sleep, or a pharmaceutical. So I think this is real forward progress. And I think this is going to improve a lot of quality of lives. And it's also going to save an awful lot of time and suffering for people, but also a lot of money for health and wellness systems. My GP surgery, I should say, when they saw what happened to me, they said, Peter, we need you to share this with us because we're not sure whether you've noticed, but the system is bankrupting us and the country. So they were very curious as to what I had done personally, and I shared with them, and they said, this is incredible. We need this. This is what we need. So I did all of this in conjunction with my general practitioners, and they shared it within their practice. But I went back then to being a busy management consultant, and they asked me to get involved with patient services. And I said, look, I'm really busy. But then I ended up setting up a business, which is non-medical, which is just pure wellness. But I put two and two together, and I dug deep into biochemistry, and it turned out that I had certain things going in my family background, which are not uncommon, but my environment were impacting on my biology. So I realized that my gut was out, and that my mitochondria, which are the power plants within the cells, and we're made of lots of cells, were just not functioning properly and not producing enough energy. And if anyone thinks that this is either nonsense or too too difficult to understand, This is called something called Krebs cycle. This is something called cellular respiration. This is actually taught in the UK at GCSE level biology. Professor Hans Krebs won a prestigious Nobel Prize several decades ago from Oxford University, and it's called Krebs cycle. So this is what we work on, and I realized that on my mother's side, and you inherit all of your mitochondria on your maternal side, not your paternal side. So even though biologically you're roughly 50-50, from an energy production perspective, you inherit the mitochondria, which is this power plant within the cell, within most cells in the body, from your maternal line. I put this together and gradually things started improving. And this is when people started asking me, what are you doing? We want some of that. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, of course. It is interesting. So the solution was in getting more energy. Yeah.
The solution was in getting more energy into my body, and also two things. So I'll make it really straightforward. Identifying what was causing me a problem in the first place.
Mhm.
So what was not serving my energy. So less of that. And then what can support me quickly with a high return on investment for me, because I was a busy guy and I want quick solutions. But I want long-term solutions. I want things that are working. And it was really people around me that were saying, what are you doing? And I hadn't at the time realized, because pain is a funny thing. When it comes quickly. Stop doing that. Now, these days we'll take an analgesic for it to go away, but the root cause of that pain is still there. So I was interested in things that were addressing the disease, the discomfort, at the root cause. When pain goes, it's not that obvious. It's a few days often before you realize that pain is gone. Yeah, maybe I am have more energy, but it was people around me noticing. So it was really addressing, those root causes. But then when more and more people were asking me, I'm thinking, do I make a jump from doing what I'm doing, which, I enjoyed and I suppose I was good at, and it was very, very good career, and it was very kind to me because I love meeting people and I got to travel all over the world. I took a big leap of faith because I thought this is something I've got to do, but I've got to stay within the wellness space, quite rightly. But now we work with lots of doctors and professors, and even Harley Street clinics who appreciate what we do, is very powerful and can be very supportive of what they're doing. So this is no one solution. This is something that works well with other modalities.
Yeah, great. So would you like to share what is the solution to keep healthy? And you look great. You
Oh,
said,
thank you.
yeah, you said that you're 68, and of course, those pictures which you shared with me, you look much better now. Yes, like young, and, very fit, and like face color, and yeah, really very healthy.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, so for our audience, just for them to understand what exactly made the change, like,
Yes.
yes, what
Yes.
did you do? What, because we can also want our audience to know what they can do for improving
Yes.
health.
Yeah, we want quick solutions. So, first of all, a couple of things. I'm not 68. I am 56.
Did the
So,
68? Okay.
yeah, I'm 56, but I'll be 57 in March. So, but do I feel great? I feel better than I felt when I was 21. Okay, I call this chronology versus biology. Chronologically, our time is always moving forwards, but biologically, our bodies instinctively know if we remove the bad and add more good, which I'll talk about in a moment, what those things might be, and they're very simple. Generally speaking, that we can do to support. Biologically, our bodies can repair. If our cells have more energy, if we have more time to recover, and we have the building blocks of a human being, or any other living thing, then our bodies instinctively know what to do. So I am 56, but I feel amazing. I get tired when it's time to get tired. I get hungry when it's time to eat. But energetically, I feel great. And again, if I go back to the surgery that I had, I was somewhat of a mystery, a nice mystery for the physicians working with me. Every day they would come in, each of them, to talk to me for at least 1 hour to try and, to understand what was going on. And it all made sense to them because, of course, they're very highly qualified physicians, but they found it fascinating. So I'm going to boil it down for your viewers to we have sort of three main pillars, which it took me about a year to understand working with clients, that we needed all these things in balance because it's no one thing. So first of all, we need a good night's sleep. No one had ever spoken to me about real sleep. Sleep is when we recover, and there are different cycles of sleep. And there's some really good sleep scientists out there. Dr. Matthew Walker is someone that your viewers may wish to watch. I like Dr. Michael Bruce. I think that these people on a scientific level really explain what is known. There's a lot not known about sleep. We're working with a doctor at the moment in the UK called Dr. Jill McGarry. She's amazing. And, so sleep is vital. Without sleep, we cannot and we will not repair. People like to convince themselves, and there's been a few famous ones, especially in the UK over the years, I need 4 hours sleep a night. Well, the proof, the end result of that is it doesn't go well. Some people can get away with less sleep than most. That is a fact, but that is a very, very rare subset, it would appear. We need good, and it's the quality of sleep. I was getting no quality sleep, deep sleep, which is when our body produces hormones, which are building block hormones. So for the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, stem cell proliferation. Stem cells are produced less as we get older. It's Mother Nature's plan. We're not designed to produce more energy, more stem cells, more building block hormones. Human growth hormone, HGH. We don't need to inject it or take it as a pill. We have it. We need to stimulate it. More of the good, less of the bad. So sleep is a key area. If someone is not sleeping, they are not recovering. Okay. Secondly, we need real food. And this is really simple. We need to eat. I just keep it really simple. This is no longer controversial. I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm not qualified to speak. But every day, front page news. It used to be every other day. It's now every day. There is another doctor. I read an article yesterday from a London doctor who was talking about this in a national broadsheet newspaper, just saying, hey, this is real food. And sometimes he eats and sometimes he doesn't. And this is grounded in modern, very now very well established science. But if we haven't got the building blocks of a human being, so amino acids, essential fatty acids, electrolytes, we're electrical, and we work on the electrical function. And we'll talk more about that perhaps later in regard to PEMF and Optimal Hydration, the two companies that I founded and co-founded. If we have not got good electrical activity, but the building blocks of a human being, we cannot rebuild tissue. Simple as that. So if my skin looks better than it did 15, 20, or 30 years ago, that's because I have more time for it to repair. I have better building blocks, which is just local, seasonal, regional, whole foods. Okay. Whereabouts in the world are you from, Elena?
I am from Brighton
From
now.
Brighton. Okay. So if you go back 100 years, 150, 200 years, so to what someone's grandmother's grandmother may have eaten, it turns out that was pretty good, actually. And we were much healthier then. Yes, we didn't have the benefit of modern life-saving pharmaceuticals. Antibiotics would be, a major one. When we need them, these things are incredible and life-saving. But really, real seasonal whole foods, these are good for the planet and they are good for us. And this is now on the front page of every newspaper and increasingly in medical journals. So real whole foods, we don't have to spend a fortune, and we need to eat when we're hungry and not eat when we're not. And these things appear to be good. So this is another pillar. So real food, I call it a proper human diet. I took that phrase from someone called Dr. Ken Berry. He calls it a PhD, which I think is great. Just eat real food for humans. And if you feel good on something, eat it. And if you don't. So the other thing is nature. This is the third part of the triangle. So nature. Now, nature provides everything. It provides good sleep when we live in it, but we don't live in it anymore. We're in houses. We're on, I live on the second floor of an apartment building. I'm not living on the ground, and that's good in many respects, but also I'm not receiving natural light, natural energy. I'm not as in tune with the seasons. I'm not sleeping in tune with the seasons. So, and we've lost that within the last, certainly in the last 100 years. But we need more nature. Now, what we do with PEMFit, the company I founded, and Optimal Hydration, is we're delivering a lot of nature to people. You can't just go out and live in a cave for 6 to 9 months. And there's also some not great things about that. The damp is not great. Ants crawling around you and your food is not great. But what you are actually getting is you're being exposed to natural microbiomes in natural environments. You're being exposed to natural PEMFs, pulsed electromagnetic fields, and perhaps we'll talk about more of this in a moment. You're being exposed to natural light cycles and thereby your circadian rhythm. And again, none of this is controversial now. Going to bed when it's bedtime and waking up when it's morning. We were much healthier. We only have to look in the UK at photographs in the 70s, probably up until the mid 80s when things really started to go off. And now, there's a great desire to shift that, not least because it is bankrupting societies, and also people are not living their lives like I was. So really these three pillars. So a good night's sleep and what that actually looks and feels like. Real nutrition and hydration. And that's really simple, way more complicated than we're told it is, from my experience. Regional, seasonal, local food. And also lots of natural energy. And now, that could be a walk in the park. It could be a walk along a canal, the beach, if you're lucky enough to live by the sea, out in the countryside. Get out into nature, be exposed to light, breathe it in, and these are the main things. Now, what we do at PEMFit is we're taking that nature side of things and we're greatly amplifying that, and we're delivering it to the human body. And we will also work with animals who love it. And the body naturally knows how to receive these. PEMFit, my company, is called pulsed electromagnetic fields. This is the PEMF in the PEMFit. And this has been around for several decades, but we use the elite end of this equipment. So we can deliver a lot of this natural energy. And these are just big nature machines, as I call them, which deliver energy which the body knows how to receive, how to store within the cells, and then the body then knows how to take that together with sleep and food and start to regenerate and normalize tissue.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Yes. Using nature, because we are made from these elements of earth. Yeah, so we are part of the nature, and of course
Totally. We are carbon beings, and we return to that form, and the whole cycle goes around again. And cells, all cells are designed to live for and perform their function for a particular period of time, according to the experts, with a mucous membrane cell, say in the digestive tract, in the nasal passages. These last around 24 to 48 hours and are regenerated. And certain of the cells within tissue can last, I've read in studies, anywhere between 4 and 7 years. But when you look at those pictures of me at 45 and 55, people say, you look a different person. People that I knew then and you know now, they say, you look like a different person. Well, I am a different person. Every single part of me has regenerated, but just with better raw materials and the time, and that's called sleep, in order for that process to take place. So it's the balance of everything.
Yeah, so what helped you to become healthy after 30 years? Is it these three elements which you mentioned, like better food,
Yeah,
air,
yeah,
nature?
yeah. These are my non-negotiables.
Mm-hmm.
We talk to our clients about them being non-negotiable. If someone wants to come to our business, and by the way, we don't just work with sick people. We work with the sick, the unwell, the well, and also very high performers. So they may be Olympic athletes, they may be Premiership footballers, rugby players. But the business was founded from people who were very sick, like me. But we're there for everybody. Everybody can use more energy. So, sorry, I've forgotten the first part of your question. And
Yeah, so the question was anything else you did, or because you did such a huge change, being sick in 30 years. So
yeah,
what 30 years didn't you go for did
yes,
you eat well? Did you
yes.
sleep? Like what really changed that you totally became healthy now?
Yes.
And
So thank you. So yeah, I just double down on these things. And when things go off, then I double down on those things. Am I getting enough sleep? Am I eating real food? The things that I feel good on, not the things that I crave or want often. The healthier you are, the more you crave healthy food. The better you get into sleep, the more you really look forward to a good night's sleep where you wake up feeling refreshed. So these are my non-negotiables. And if somebody comes to us and says, look, I want to achieve this in life, I want to feel really, really well, but I just want to do the PEMFit side of things, then, unfortunately, they will plateau. Things will improve, but they will plateau at a point. Now, it takes energy in order to say, actually, I want to go to the next stage. But where people say, look, I feel great, I just want to maintain this, maintenance then is important. But then again, that requires, just hydrate. We both got water before the podcast began. We have to stay hydrated. If we don't drink for, say, 3 days, bad things happen. If we don't eat for quite a few more days longer, bad things happen again. But too much is not good. So the devil is always in the dose of these things. So these are the non-negotiables. And what we do at PEMFit is we coach people, we support them. They come in, they tell us what their objectives are. So if it's just, look, I feel great, I just want to stay feeling great as long as I can. Now, as we say, as I just mentioned, everybody can use more energy. We work with Olympic athletes, we work with, specimens of human beings who we don't know what we don't know. We don't know how well we can feel when we get an abundance of energy and more things, more cells within the body start working better and properly. And I'll also break it down to this, if we want to really boil it down, what is a human being that we know? What is any mammal? Well, it is a bag of cells with a human, uh, apparently around 37 trillion, give or take. The rest of us is salty water, so electrolyte. We are electrical. When you go into hospital, they will put an IV drip into you. I had them in September in surgery of magnesium, potassium, and sodium. And these are electrolytes for our bodies to produce cell voltage and repair. And surgery is done with the intention of the body repairing. Otherwise, surgeons wouldn't operate on people. The older we get, typically, the less ability we have to do that because, again, Mother Nature's plan is survival of the fittest. But if we get the sleep, if we get nature, and we can amplify that with this equipment, and this is a nice thing to be able to have advantage of. And if we're consuming the building blocks of a human being, your body will do a lot better than it would beforehand. And all we're doing is really charging the body up. So people think, oh, my session has finished now. Our sessions last 40 minutes. And they think that's the end of it. No, the energy is delivered to the cells. So these 37 trillion cells, they hold a charge, a very small charge. It's a voltage. And there's a positive and negative charge across the cell. And the cell membrane is permeable, and good things go into the cell, oxygen and electrolytes, and then the waste product of Krebs cycle, carbon dioxide, another waste product, comes out. This is just how we're designed, and it was Professor Hans Krebs that unlocked this mystery years and years ago. And it is this simple. The problem is now is there's a lot of confusion. We've also lost sense. I was looking at, there's so much information. I was getting bogged down with the wrong things. And it really is, I feel, as simple as get out in nature if you can. If you can't, use something that works. I sauna every day. And why? Because it makes me feel good. Does it do everything that our PEMF does? No. Some of the things are similar. And if I sauna the right amount of time, I feel better. I get hot, I get cold. Okay. I live in a spa town, and just about 150 meters away from me, there's a remains of there's a castle there now. But prior to that, there was a Roman spa, a Roman fort, two Roman forts actually. And there still are the remains of the Roman spa. So they knew 2000 years ago, if you got hot and you got cold, you felt better. And you go to Finland now, and many other northern European cultures, but in many cultures, they sweat. Why? Because you feel better, and this is ancestral wisdom. Why? Because it helps your cells perform better. It helps your body get rid of stuff it needs to get rid of. We didn't then have the science around it. They just knew it felt good. So this is what we deliver quickly, comfortably, and efficiently at PEMFit, and we support people along the way of working out what's going on along the way and keeping them motivated in a coaching style.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pete. It is a lot we shared today. Yes, and things are really simple. Yeah, we have to look at our life as something precious, yes, at our health when we have it, and just take responsibility, yes, for all these three things: sleep, be in nature, eat natural food, as you said, according to the season, yes, and be grateful. So being great mindset, yes, and not thinking that 40 or 50 it is already like you're getting old. Yes, I think a lot is also related to how you see yourself. Yes, like if you think that 50 is already old, yes, like some people I meet at 50s and they say like, oh, we old people. And it's so like it just like what? Like old people. I don't think I'm old people. It's not like really like people can be in the same age category, but some can think that they're young and
Yeah.
some of you think that they're old. So I think
Yes.
there's also a lot of mindset. Like if you think that you are young, I think when you have this attitude that you are young, you are full of energy, you also will do things to which will be like reinforce that belief, right? So
Yes.
you will keep that energy because this is your standards. Because
Yeah.
you don't want to see yourself out of energy and you don't even think that you are old. But people who allow themselves to see that they're old, I think it is subconsciously, they also allowing all things which are related to see themselves old also come, like feel maybe not energy because they say, oh, I don't feel energy because I'm old, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
instead of just getting up and going for a walk and get that energy back and maintain it,
Yes.
they can say, oh, I'm already old, so no, I will not do that because that's
Yes.
for young people, right?
Yes.
So I think it is also a lot of mindset, yes, in
I agree. I agree. And I think what might be relevant to your viewers, because they're probably very similar to me, they're probably, let's call ourselves, I'm sure you are as well, um, type A personalities. So if we're going to do something, the more we do, the better things will be. Well, that was actually one of my problems. So I was going out, and if I was told to do something, I would do it. And if I felt worse, I was doing more of it. But
Mm.
in hindsight, looking back, a lot of these things were actually hurting me. So it was actually willpower that got me through those 30 years. I feel genuinely now better in my mid to late 50s than I felt in my mid 20s. I can tell you that. I felt old in my 20s. I was actually told by physicians, Pete, you're getting on a bit. Before I go for a run, I take, one surgeon told me I take 3 ibuprofen. That was his advice at the time. I think he probably would have changed his opinion by now because this is going back about 30 years. Um, but we're not old, and the body has the ability to repair, and this is now well recognized. And yes, I'm an N equals 1 experiment of that, but I know thousands of other people who've done the same. If we add more good and we remove the bad, then the body instinctively knows what to do. With enough cell voltage and raw materials, the body can repair just about anything. I'm quoting a eminent scientist here, and this is very true from what I've also observed working with clients. So the scientist is a chap called Jerry Tennant. He's a professor. He's a medical doctor. He's also a PhD, so he's a doctor, a couple ways over. And I agree with him. And he is a big fan of pulsed electromagnetic fields. But if you can't get that, and I can maybe show you some different forms of equipment, because this is also what's quite confusing for people, and it confused me for a while and kept me away from using this technology. But Jerry Tennant says, look, if you have enough cell voltage and raw materials, and the raw materials, I take it, are sleep, and the building blocks of a human being, but also less of the bad stuff. And don't get me wrong, a bit of what you like does you good. It's an old saying. I like it. I treat myself, but my limits are less than most people. But poison is poison for some of us. So I'll try and not have as much of that. But also, we often think we're doing the right things, but we don't, because it is a very confusing space. And this is when I found the answers everybody wanted to know. So we just wanted to make it as easy as possible for people and take the mystery out of it, and take, yes, we can talk science with people about it, even though we're a wellness company. But also, if people just come and say, hey, look, my rotator cuffs hurts like mad, I can't do my job, and they come and they sit on our equipment or they lay on our equipment, and after a surprisingly small number of sessions, they say, my shoulder feels so much better. If they want to know why, we can explain it to them. But what's important for us is that delivering this energy and people living the life that they want to live, doing what they want to do. So I can perhaps show you how things began with me in PEMF. This is a small PEMF device, puts out a very low amount of this natural energy. If I'm totally honest, an amount that's not meaningful. I have a saying: for big problems, you need big tools. This was not the solution to my problem, but all we're doing is passing current through copper wire, and we're turning it on and off at frequencies which replicate the Earth. So not long ago, when we lived on the Earth and we were grounding and we were receiving these natural PEMS, which are all very low frequency, commonly known, some of them, as Schumann resonances. These are things that are meant to stimulate our cells production, and also support our circulation. And we won't get into that today, but they support circulation, they support cell voltage, and the body's ability to repair itself, wherever that is in the body. Here's another one. This is a more powerful device. It's a wearable, so I can just turn it on. If I hold it up to my headphones, you might be able to hear through there we are, through the microphone. So you can hear those frequencies. These are low frequencies. This is just a nature device. Now, it's small, it's a wearable, it's not going to cover the whole body. But this is the first device I started experimenting with, and I realized things were happening. And it wasn't an analgesic. It was supporting my body's ability to repair itself. It's also not a TENS machine, so it's not blocking that feedback loop of pain. So I go out and do more damage. It was actually supporting my body's ability through increased circulation in that case, in order to help repair that tissue. I'm going to show you now. Our systems are huge. And when I took a big leap of faith and left my old comfortable career of 30 plus years in management and consultancy, I spent a lot of money, tens and tens of thousands of pounds, and bought the first of these. They're called Pulse. PEMF is the company, and we're really proud now to have partnered with them. as an exclusive partner for them. This is just one of our accessories. So this is plugged into the machine. The machine is huge. I'm lucky enough to have one at my home, and it's over there. And what this does is enable to pass energy through a much larger part of the body. This is just an accessory. All this has in it is copper. And we can wrap this around the chest or part of the body, the legs, the pelvis. But you may lay on a bed, which is like a whole body battery recharger. And this is how we start all clients, on either the chair or the bed. And then we have accessories. This is one of the medium-sized ones. We have ones that are 10 times bigger than this to apply energy to the whole body, and support all of the body's mechanisms. But then let's say someone's got, knee issues. We can support those knee issues, ligaments, tendons. It could be cognitive function. But if we can work on the whole body, we work on the whole body. And at PEMFit, we're fortunate to use this incredible equipment. I mean, this is the connector for it. It's bigger than most small PEMF devices. That just connects it to the machine, which is a huge box which generates a pulse, which just replicates nature. So we're passing low frequencies, which the body recognizes, into the body. The body knows how to receive them, how to store them, and then how to use that stored energy to repair damaged tissue. There is also a cumulative benefit with each session. So it's like, we call it cellular exercise or passive exercise. You lay there, most people fall asleep. It's very relaxing. You can feel it. This is light, it's not electricity. We're converting electricity into an invisible light, but it's a sufficient quantity that you can feel. And it's very relaxing. And it exercises the cells, and then the cells, you go away, and then the cells repair themselves into a better cell than they were before, but using sleep and the building blocks of a human cell. So that's a little bit on PMF.
Yes, thank you, Pete, so much. It is really a lot of very interesting information, and I'm sure that people who watch this episode would like to connect with you and to learn more about your products and how you help people to be healthy. So the information will be put in the description below this video. So,
Yes.
yeah, everyone will have that opportunity to connect with you and learn more. Yes, so thank you so much, yes, for being amazing guest, for sharing your experience, and it was very valuable and powerful conversation.
Thank you, Elena. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. So if anybody does want to know more, then the easiest ways to find us, if you go to our website, which is pemfituk.co.uk, pemfit.co.uk, sorry. And there you'll find a locator for your nearest studio. And we have a growing number of studios across the UK. You can also contact our company, Optimal Hydration. We make a range of molecular hydrogen products, electrolytes, and also very high-end water purification machines, because without electrolytes, we can't modulate that and turn it into cell voltage. So you can find Optimal Hydration at optimalhydration.co.uk. You can find us also on Instagram at PEMFit, at PEMFitUK. And you can connect with myself directly on at Peter Maroni. That's PITAMARRONI. And please feel free to ask us any questions. Also on the website, you will find A to Z growing list of A to Z articles, and also client blogs and testimonials talking about how PEMFit may be able to support particular conditions in conjunction with other modalities, not least, allopathic Western medicine, but be supportive of those. And there's lots of peer review study cited just to support what is being said is backed in real science.
Thank you so much, Pete. Yes, amazing, amazing information. And thank you, of course, what you do to help people be healthy. So I'm looking forward to see you again in our future episodes where you can share more about your equipment.
Very happy to. If you'd like me to, and your viewers want us to, we can dig into any subject you like. So thank you, Elena, for your time, and thank you to anyone watching for your very precious time also. And yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, you're most welcome. See you soon again.